Number 1. 1937 Buick Roadmaster. Along with the Chevrolet Standards, Buick was the only GM car to retain its basic 1934 design through 1935. The 1936 modern station brought Buick in line with other GM cars. In 1937, Buick, like other GM cars, received a modernized body. The Roadmaster received a split grille with horizontal stripes. The fenders were squared and the headlight housing were aerodynamic. The interior was unchanged, but the overall height was reduced by 1.5 inches, 38 millimeters. A new carburetor and improved distributors allowed the engine to increase power to 130 HP. The engine also received a new intake manifold, oil pump, coolant system, and quieter overhead valve train. The Roadmaster received an official lower glass partition between the front and rear compartments at a price of $1,641 or $33,405 in 2023 dollars, of which 452 were sold. A total of 16,129 units of the Roadmaster were sold. On average, this car costs $26,000 USA. Number 2. 1964 Ford Thunderbird. 1964-1966, the Thunderbird remained Ford's most expensive car, costing $1,000 more than the prestigious full-size Galaxie 500 XL. The Thunderbird belonged to the segment of personal luxury cars and was oriented to wealthy people who preferred sporty style and high technical characteristics. The car was too heavy and too big to be called sporty, but the power of the 6.4-liter V8 390 engine with a 4-chamber carburetor was enough to reach a top speed of 200 km per hour. The soft suspension provided a comfortable ride, while the 4-seat leather interior with bucket seats, recessed dashboard, multiple gauges, linear speedometer, and a sideways sloping 2-spoke steering wheel signals the car's high-class credentials. Despite the introduction of competitors such as the Buick Riviera and Pontiac Grand Prix, Thunderbird sales in 1964 totaled 92,465 units. By now, this car can be purchased for $26,000. Number 3. 1955 Packard Caribbean. In 1955, designer Richard Tick changed the look and feel of the outdated 1951-1954 model years. Panoramic windscreen, headlight visors, arc-shaped radiator grille, chrome plating on the front bumper, decorative air intakes on the rear wings, exhaust pipes integrated into the rear bumper, faint Gothic taillights. The Packard Caribbean was the only convertible in the model range, differing from the Patrician sedan at the hardtop 400 by having 2 air intakes on the bonnet, 2 antennae on the fins, and contrasting colored side stripes along the body, accentuated by chrome moldings. Most cars were painted in 3 colors. Packard's Caribbean sales in 1955 totaled only 500 cars. All the older Packard models of 1955 were based on a 127-inch wheelbase platform. The chassis used an innovative axle self-adjusting suspension developed by Bill Allison. Instead of axle springs, it consisted of twin wishbones at the front and 4 longitudinal axles joined by longitudinal arms at the rear. The front and rear axles share a common fulcrum flush with the X-shaped intersection of the frame cross members, each controlled by an electric motor. This car is relatively expensive. Its price tag is about $70,000. Number 4. 1969 Chevrolet Impala SS. This is a 1969 Chevrolet. In this picture, the 1969, something else may look a little tired. Note the large new bumper with hingers, which nicely frames and protects the new grille. On the sides of the car, there are large wheel openings. And look, no air vents. Industrial vents are now standard on all large Chevrolets. The dashboard is new, the body structure is more robust. To make it look even better, put it next to other 69s. This is the 1969 Chevrolet Advert. This Chevrolet Impala SS 427 convertible is one of only 2,455 Super Sports assembled in 3 different body styles during the entire 1969 model year. How many of the 2,455 Super Sports were made, and how many of them were built in the 1969 model year? How many of these 2,455 Super Sports convertibles have survived to the present day? This one is azure turquoise in color with a parchment interior and white convertible top. This is perhaps the most beautiful color combination. The engine compartment is well detailed with an out-of-the-box chrome-plated air cleaner and valve covers. The approximate price of this wonderful car is $25,000. Number 5. 1965 Plymouth Barracuda. The Plymouth Barracuda, introduced in April 1964, a week after the Ford Mustang, was the first American car in the compact sports car segment, later to be called the Pony Car. Ford announced its intention to produce the Mustang as early as 1962, and Chrysler immediately began development of its own model of this type called the Plymouth Barracuda. However, while the Mustang was built from scratch and shared mechanical components with the compact Ford Falcon, the Barracuda was actually a second-generation Plymouth Valiant, redesigned as a fastback. Compared to the Mustang, the Barracuda looked cheap and old-fashioned. The price of this car is about $40,000. Number 6. 1953 Mercury Monterey. This 1953 Mercury Monterey, with its gorgeous color combination and the fathead V8 power plant, is the perfect classic road car, but its value for money and quality also makes it an attractive Sunday driver's car. As a premium class in the Ford lineup, this advanced Monterey was offered only in the hardtop version and showed its style with every centimeter of the pillarless roof surrounded by bright trim. In addition to the bright finishes, the bumpers were also a highlight, with the front bumper in tinted chrome highlighting details such as the dagmar and the latch curves. The rear bumper is also brilliantly blended with the tail feathering. The price of such a miracle is about $30,000. Rate. This 1940 Packard 160 Super 8 convertible sedan is pure luxury, because back in the day, if you want a more expensive Packard 160, you had to buy a limousine. That's why the car is recognized as a CCCA classic. Why it's fascinating to see how a personality that's been recognized by generations to come appreciates its pre-war history while retaining its high-end car styling. The Packards of this era merely impress us with a bright, high radiator grille, a first-class design with artistic body lines. Look at the creases that start at the bonnet, like a harpoon, and extend until they disappear at the rear. The red stripe running along the inside coordinates with the wheels and adds elegance. Torpedo-shaped headlamps, twin spiral wheels on the long downward sloping front fenders, bright chrome bumpers, correct two-piece wheel covers, and the goodness of speed at the wheel. We like the paintwork on this car, which is believed to match the factory Miami Sand color. It was probably painted about 40 years ago, and that's where its true charm lies. No one would accuse this ageless classic of being inbred. After all, the packaging, boot, trim, and folding roof also have a look worthy of pure originality. All this is the image of a conscientious collector who takes care of his condition and doesn't mess around with it. In fact, we're told that this car has come out of a long-standing collection at the Northeast Surgeons in the hands of another collector who doesn't have the space to properly store this remarkable classic from the war. This car will cost you about $60,000. Number 2, 1938 Talbot Lego T150C. The Talbot Lego T150C had a low slug spare frame with tubular cross members. Suspension was independent front on transverse leaf springs, rear on longitudinal semi-elliptic leaf springs, and equipped with the ram shock absorbers. All wheels were equipped with huge 355mm drum brakes with mechanical drive and 17-inch spokes Armstrong Whiteworth. A 4-speed semi-automatic transmission Wilson with selector lever on the steering column, licensed to Anthony Lego, was fitted as standard. In 1937, the standard T150C model was joined by the Talbot Lego, which had a reduced wheelbase of 2,650mm and was joined by the 150C SS Super Sport. Some of the models equipped with an aerodynamic body reach speeds of up to 185 km/h. It's a very expensive car, and depending on the quality of the car and your luck, you can buy for between $200,000 and $7 million. Number 3, 1970 AMC Rebelle machine. The mid-size AMC Rebelle was introduced in 1967 as the successor to the Rambler Classic. It had a 2,896mm wheelbase, prominent rear fenders, white chrome bumpers, and twin headlamps flush with a radiator grille, a trend of the late 1960s. There were 4 body styles: hardtop, 4-door saloon, station wagon, and convertible, and 3 trim levels: 550, 770, and SST. The price of the pleasure of having one of these babies in your garage is $80,000. Number 4, 1954 Buick Skylark. The 1954 Buick range included the special price from $2,200 to $3,160 on a 122-inch wheelbase platform shared with the Century and Skylark. The Century and Skylark used the same 322cc V8 engine, with the Century producing 195 HP at 7.2:1 compression ratio, and the Skylark 200 HP at 8.10:1. The Super Series 50 was based on the new General Motors C-body platform, which was common with the Roadmaster, had a larger size of 127 inches. The Super body cost 2,710 for a sedan, 2,630 for a hardtop coupe, and 2,965 for a convertible. The Roadmaster had the same body style but was 500 more expensive. The cost of this car can vary, but it's around $100,000. Number 5. 1971 De Tomaso Pantera. The most famous of the American-Italian hybrids is the De Tomaso Pantera. Combining Italian styling with a rugged American V8, it was a car that appealed to both sides of the pond. It was the result of a collaboration between Leila Kaka and Alessandro Tomaso to create a version of the AMX-3 that would introduce Ford to the exotic car market. The design, conceived by Tomaso, was developed by the Dallara company, which had a production capacity of 5,000 cars a year. The car included everything: double wishbone suspension, disc brakes, rack and pinion steering, and, at its head, the 351 Clavilant V8 engine. In 1971, the Italian company De Tomaso presented a supercar with a volume of 5,763 cm3 engine. De Tomaso Pantera gave out 330 HP. Acceleration to 100 km/h was carried out in 5.2 seconds, and the maximum speed reached 259 km/h. The price of the De Tomaso Pantera is $150,000. Number 6. 1967 Volkswagen Beetle. This Volkswagen Beetle is a rare car that Volkswagen connoisseurs will appreciate. The beautiful black color matches perfectly with the Indian red leather interior. The car has just arrived at Legendary Classics after a lengthy restoration that went through all the stages to produce a beautiful Volkswagen Beetle with matching numbers. The car was built on the 22nd of November 1966 and left the factory on the 9th of December 1966. This 1967 car has many special details which, along with the color and lacquer, make it a real find. Hubcaps, rear cover, smoking area without handle, other handles and interior trim, etc. The car is accompanied by a certificate from the Stipton Auto Museum Volkswagen. The price ranges from $15,000 to $25,000. Unlike the city that gave it its name, the bold and stylish two-tone four-door car featured details that didn't exist before. Back in the day, cars were built by engineers, not designers, but Axner changed that perception. Fast, futuristic, push-button gearbox, shake brocade upholstery, and a low, sleek exterior with tiny fins. Interior. A glance behind the elegant door panels reveals a grayish-pink paint scheme to match the exterior design, with pink vinyl on top and grayish-pink vinyl underneath, with chrome stripes separating them. As for the interior, the front passenger is sitting on two hard-backed seats. The gearbox is a square panel with buttons to the driver's left. On the dark, salmon-colored steering column is a two-tone backlight steering wheel with Sundance and rosewood lettering and a chrome klaxon ring with rounding inserts. The lower part of the dashboard is angled and has a chrome overlay. In the center are several round knobs for the wipers and interior lighting. And just below this is the factory radio. Transmission. Under the bonnet is 354cc V8 Hemi. There is a single twin-barrel carburetor at the top of the 2-speed PowerFlight automatic transmission at the rear. The rear axle has 3.36 gears. The car is fully restored with only a thin layer or dust underneath. You can buy this car for $25,000. Number 2. 1948 Tucker 48. On the 19th of June 1947, The Tucker 48 prototype was unveiled for the first time at the Tuskegee plant in Chicago. The lack of a reverse gear, too noisy engine, and inefficient suspension only led journalists to say that the project was unpromising. A division of Tucker Export Company was opened in New York to sell cars to other markets. As vice presidents of the company, Tucker recruited well-known executives of the American automotive industry, such as Fred Ruckleman of Plymouth, Hudson Brown of GM, C. Lemon of BorgWarner, Lee Trice of Ford, and Robert Pierce of Briggs Manufacturing. Tucker rushed to raise the company's stock price to an unthinkable $20 million, which could not go unnoticed by the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. The Big Three supported the dangerous competitor in every way possible, seeking to eliminate it at any price. The commission had every reason to accuse Tucker of fraud. Firstly, Tucker hadn't collected money from nearly 2,000 dealers and promised to deliver cars for sale to them without delay. Secondly, the additional income was generated by an accessory sales program that allowed customers to purchase all the necessary equipment without waiting for a car. Thus, in 1949, Tucker found himself embroiled in a legal battle that led to the closure of the factory. By the time, only 36 Tucker 48s had been built. Since very few copies were produced, this car is very expensive, costing around $1 million. Number 3. 1962 Chevrolet Impala. Chevrolet introduced the SS option on the full-size Impala in 1961, and the concept became widespread in 1962. The exterior of the SS model featured a convertible roof, additional chrome trim, and rotating aluminum chrome-plated panels to accommodate the 3-block taillights. This special trim was also used on the side moldings, giving the SS a distinctive appearance. The 1962 Impala Super Sport is a stunning example of the finest full-size Chevrolet model, striking from every angle. The interior in SS trim invites you to step back in time, starting with the saddle-shaped seats and ending with passenger louvers, ventilated windows, and a Delco transistorized AM radio. All windows have smoked glass. Power is 250 bhp from a 327cc small-bore engine with 4-barrel intake and carburetor, appropriately numbered. The price is about $23,000. Number 4. 1964 Aston Martin DB4. With the launch of the DB4, Aston Martin set the bar even higher by offering its customers a brand new GT car. The Aston Martin DB4 was undoubtedly the most beautiful British sports car of the 50s. It was not inferior to either the Ferrari or the Mercedes in power or comfort. Thanks to the perfect combination of Italian style and technical development of Aston Martin engineers, the car became the most successful model of the brand of its time and brought world fame. Aston Martin DB4 was created in 1956 in parallel with the production of previous model DB MK3. The chassis was designed by Harold Beach under the direction of John Ware, and the 3.7-liter 6-cylinder engine was developed by Tadek Malik. The power unit was the same as the previous generation of the 2.9-liter Leganto engine, but the larger cylinder block was all aluminium with 240 HP. The engine was tested in 1957 in a 1957 Aston Martin race car. This car will cost you $173,000. Number 5. 1956 Chevrolet Bel Air. The Tri-5 Bel Air was a revolutionary model for Chevrolet and consolidated the brand's market position. In fact, in just 1 year, the 1956 Bel Air increased Chevrolet's market share from 16% to 28%. Among the changes introduced as part of the comprehensive facelift were the front and rear pods, as well as the trim. At the front, there was a new full-length grille, at the rear, a single housing for the taillights, brake lights, and reversing lights. chrome-plated details were added, and the fuel tank was hidden behind the left-hand taillight panel. You can easily buy this car for $32,000. Number 6. 1968 Chevrolet Camaro. The Chevrolet Camaro entered its second year on the market without significant design changes. The 1968 model received long rectangular mirrors and headlights base version, dual taillights and side marker lights mandatory for federal government. In addition, the side windows lacked vents and were replaced with an Astrovent system. The rear suspension was greatly improved with multi-leaf springs and step shocks. The SS package included standard front disc brakes and a 350 HP V8 396 engine, in addition to the 325 and 375 HP versions. Chevrolet Camaro sales totaled 235,151 units, 2,440 of which were convertibles. The price of this car now is $2,800. This 1940 Packard 160 Super 8 convertible sedan is pure luxury because back in the day, if you want a more expensive Packard 160, you had to buy a limousine. That's why the car is recognized as a CCC A classic. Why it's fascinating to see how a personality that's been recognized by generations to come appreciates its pre-war history while retaining its high-end car styling. The Packards of this era merely impress us with a bright, high radiator grille, a first-class design with artistic body lines. Look at the creases that start at the bonnet, like a harpoon, and extend until they disappear at the rear. The red stripe running along the inside coordinates with the wheels and adds elegance. Torpedo-sharp headlamps, twin spare wheels on the long downward sloping front fenders, bright chrome bumpers, correct two-piece wheel covers, and the goodness of speed at the wheel. We like the paintwork on this car, which is believed to match the factory Miami Sand color. It was probably painted about 40 years ago, and that's where its true charm lies. No one would accuse this ageless classic of being inbred. After all, the packaging, boot, trim, and folding roof also have a look worthy of pure originality. All this is the image of a conscientious collector who takes care of his condition and doesn't mess around with it. In fact, we're told that this car has come out of a long-standing collection at the Northeast Surgeons in the hands of another collector who doesn't have the space to properly store this remarkable classic from the war. This car will cost you about $60,000. Number 2. 1938 Talbot Lego T150C. The Talbot Lego T150C had a low slug spare frame with tubular cross members. Suspension was independent front on transverse leaf springs, rear on longitudinal semi-elliptic leaf springs, and equipped with the ram shock absorbers. All wheels were equipped with huge 355mm drum brakes with mechanical drive and 17-inch spokes Armstrong Whitworth. A 4-speed semi-automatic transmission Wilson with selector lever on the steering column, licensed to Anthony Lego, was fitted as standard. In 1937, the standard T150C model was joined by the Talbot Lego, which had a reduced wheelbase of 2,650mm and was joined by the 150C SS Super Sport. Some of the models equipped with an aerodynamic body reached speeds of up to 185 km/h. It's a very expensive car, and depending on the quality of the car and your luck, you can buy for between $200,000 and $7 million. Number 3. 1970 AMC Rebelle Machine. The mid-size AMC Rebelle was introduced in 1967 as the successor to the Rambler Classic. It had a 2,896mm wheelbase, prominent rear fenders, white chrome bumpers, and twin headlamps flush with a radiator grille, a trend of the late 1960s. There were 4 body styles: hardtop, 4-door saloon, station wagon, and convertible, and 3 trim levels: 550, 770, and SST. The price of the pleasure of having one of these babies in your garage is $80,000. Number 4. 1954 Buick Skylark. The 1954 Buick range included the special price from $2,200 to $3,160 on a 122-inch wheelbase platform shared with the Century and Skylark. The Century and Skylark used the same 322cc V8 engine, with the Century producing 195 HP at 7.2 column 1 compression ratio, and the Skylark 200 HP at 8.10 column 1. The Super Series 50 was based on the new General Motors C-Body platform, which was common with the Roadmaster, had a larger size of 127 inches. The Super Body cost $2,710 for a sedan, $2,630 for a hardtop coupe, and $2,965 for a convertible. The Roadmaster had the same body style but was $500 more expensive. The cost of this car can vary, but it's around $100,000. Number 5. 1971 De Tomaso Pantera. The most famous of the American-Italian hybrids is the De Tomaso Pantera. Combining Italian styling with a rugged American V8, it was a car that appealed to both sides of the pond. It was the result of a collaboration between Leila Kaka and Alessandro Tomaso to create a version of the AMX-3 that would introduce Ford to the exotic car market. The design, conceived by Tomaso, was developed by the Dallara Company, which had a production capacity of 5,000 cars a year. The car included everything: double wishbone suspension, disc brakes, rack and pinion steering, and, at its head, the 351 Clavilant V8 engine. In 1971, the Italian company De Tomaso presented a supercar with a volume of 5,763 cm3 engine. De Tomaso Pantera gave out 330 HP, acceleration to 100 km/h was carried out in 5.2 seconds, and the maximum speed reached 259 km/h. The price of the De Tomaso Pantera is $150,000 US. Number 6. 1967 Volkswagen Beetle. This Volkswagen Beetle is a rare car that Volkswagen connoisseurs will appreciate. The beautiful black color matches perfectly with the Indian red leather interior. The car has just arrived at Legendary Classics after a lengthy restoration that went through all the stages to produce a beautiful Volkswagen Beetle with matching numbers. The car was built on the 22nd of November 1966 and left the factory on the 9th of December 1966. This 1967 car has many special details which, along with the color and lacquer, make it a real find. Hubcaps, rear cover, smoking area without handle, other handles and interior trim, etc. The car is accompanied by a certificate from the Stiftung Auto Museum Volkswagen. The price ranges from $15,000 to $25,000. Write in the comments which vintage car you like the most. Be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the like button. See you later.